gumbo of growth, the connection is you.
Okay, let's unpack this. We've all been there. The holiday season shows up, and it's meant to be this, magical sparkling time.
Straight out of a movie.
Exactly. But the sources we gathered for this deep dive, they paint a much more honest picture. For millions of people, it's not magical at all. It's just immensely stressful.
We're talking about sensory overload, huge changes to your routine, and just this crushing weight of, information overload telling you how you should feel.
And what you must do.
What's fascinating here is realizing that stress isn't some kind of personal failure. It's a structural failure of expectation. So our mission today is to pull out a new philosophy from these sources.
One that empowers you.
Right. It empowers you to shed that pressure and totally customize your celebration. We're focused on a pretty radical idea, which is that no two people celebrate the holidays the same way.
And that's a good thing.
It's a profound, beautiful positive. We want to help you tune out all that noise and, find the joy in doing Christmas exactly how you need to do it.
Absolutely. The sources we're looking at, they fundamentally reject that pressure to conform. They see the main obstacle to holiday joy isn't a bad attitude.
No.
It's the sheer relentless pressure of all those external expectations. We actually need a name for that pressure.
And the sources give it one. I think we have to introduce the main antagonist of the season.
Right. Prepare yourself for the villain of our story. Expectation Claus.
Expectation Claus. Not the, jolly man in red, but that invisible, relentless force dictating exactly what you must do, what you must buy, and how you must behave.
It's a concept that really jumped out from the material because it makes the stress feel tangible,
It does.
And the knowledge we pulled highlights these common musts that just ruin the experience. You feel like a failure if you don't do them. Like you must have a huge, perfectly decorated tree.
Or you're doing Christmas wrong.
Right. You must host a big traditional dinner, the turkey, the sprouts, the whole 9 yards, or you've failed your family. And you must spend a ton of money on gifts.
Often money you don't even have.
Just to keep up.
And I think the most damaging one, the one that's just emotionally exhausting, is the absolute requirement to be happy.
Yeah.
You must be cheerful and grateful, even if you're, internally running on fumes.
That forced happiness, that's where this conversation gets really serious. The sources make a chilling connection here. They explicitly link that pressure to pretend to be happy.
That feeling of everyone else is happy except me?
Yes, that feeling. They link it directly to the elevated risk of mental health crises around Christmas. If you feel like you aren't allowed to be sad or talk about your struggles, that pressure just builds.
Until it becomes really dangerous, which is why rejecting conformity isn't just about, being less annoyed. It's a matter of self-preservation.
So how do we start taking that apart, that overwhelming feeling of obligation?
Well, the sources suggest a really simple but profound test.
Okay.
When a tradition or an obligation comes up and it makes you feel stressed or resentful, you just stop. And you ask yourself one question.
Who am I doing this for?
That's the crucial question. Is this activity genuinely bringing joy to me and my family? Or is it something Expectation Claus is forcing on us because we're worried about what other people think?
The neighbors, social media, your great aunt.
Exactly. And if the joy is minimal and the stress is high, the sources give you firm permission. Let it go.
And they give some great concrete examples of this. Like if a giant blinking Christmas tree is just too much sensory input or too much hassle.
Don't have one.
Don't have one. Put some lights on a shelf or decorate a houseplant instead.
It's all about tailoring it to genuine comfort. If your family would rather have Mexican fajitas or even just order a pizza instead of you slaving away for hours cooking a turkey.
That's the joy of customization.
It is.
And my personal favorite takeaway, which I fully endorse, wearing a Sonic the Hedgehog Christmas jumper to dinner is a perfectly valid choice.
It's a little rebellion against having to dress and act correctly.
It really is. And this connects to gift giving, too.
Hmm?
The pressure extends to how you're supposed to react when you open a present.
Yeah. For some people, especially autistic individuals, those emotions of delight or gratitude, they don't always come out as a big gasp or a huge smile. And the pressure to perform that reaction is exhausting.
And then there's the gift itself.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's just a cycle of obligation. I love the example of the cousins who just agreed to stop buying gifts for each other.
Because they realized they were only doing it because they felt they had to.
And the result was a stress-free Christmas focused just on enjoying each other's company. which is the whole point, right?
That simple agreement, it just shows the power of setting those boundaries. And speaking of boundaries, we have to talk about physical touch. Hugs from relatives.
That's a huge one. It's non-negotiable.
The need for bodily autonomy for everyone in your family has to be respected.
That can be so hard, though, in the moment when, an elderly relative is coming in for a hug.
Which is why the sources say you should practice alternatives before the visit. Things like high fives or fist bumps. And you have to unashamedly state that your child, or anyone, has the right to say no to a hug.
Because the holidays should be enjoyable for the child. It doesn't stop just because they need accommodations.
Exactly.
And that leads us right into validating these customized celebrations. We're rejecting comparison, so we have to embrace what actually makes our family happy.
Yeah, and the sources give these two contrasting but equally valid examples. You have the absolute Christmas fanatic child who's like singing carols in March.
I know that child.
And then you have the child who finds it all totally overwhelming and spends Christmas Day, just like any other day, playing quietly with their regular toys.
And both are valid. The sources are so clear on this. Both are valid because they maximize genuine happiness for that person.
If you force the quiet child into the fanatic mold, you're just maximizing their suffering. It's a celebration, not a duty. It should be on your terms.
So if we're creating our own traditions, we need strategies. What practical new traditions are worth establishing to make things more predictable?
It's all about predictability. The sources emphasize new sensory-friendly activities. Maybe it's finding a sensory-friendly Santa, or something as simple as letting your child have their own small Christmas tree.
One they decorate entirely themselves.
Yes. The point is giving them control over a small piece of the environment to reduce that feeling of chaos.
And this includes respecting a child's right to not believe in Santa. I think this is where a lot of parents struggle. They feel like they're losing the magic.
That's such a powerful point.
Yeah.
We have to remember that for some kids, the Santa myth isn't magic, it's just stress.
Right. If you have a super logical kid who's questioning the physics of it all, or a really anxious kid who does not want a stranger sneaking into their house.
Forcing them to believe doesn't add joy, it takes it away. It is perfectly okay for a child to thank their parents directly for a gift.
I think the most challenging adaptation, though, is often for the caregiver. It's changing your own expectations of what Christmas is supposed to look like.
That's where the loss of your tradition really hits home.
Yeah, and it's not a small thing. The sources had this example of a mother whose son begged her not to give him surprise presents. The unknown was just too anxiety-inducing for him.
And for her, giving up that surprise element, which had always been the essence of Christmas morning, was genuinely hard. She felt a real sense of loss.
But she realized that her son's emotional stability was far more important than her nostalgic view of tradition.
And that realization is so central to this whole deep dive. Our emotional attachment to tradition can actually get in the way of adapting to the needs of the people we love most.
That's a fantastic point. And if you need help letting go of that guilt, the sources even give us some historical context.
They do. It's like historical relief from guilt. If you feel bad about skipping the giant tree or the feast, just remember that a lot of these modern traditions, the trees, the crackers, the lavish celebrations,
They were basically invented by the Victorians.
mostly, yeah,
Yeah.
popularized by Prince Albert and Charles Dickens. So we're talking about customs that are maybe 150, 200 years old.
They're not ancient, sacred requirements.
Exactly. Knowing they're detached from the holiday's religious origins makes it so much easier to let them go without feeling that crushing guilt. They're cultural habits, not duties.
Okay, let's pivot from the philosophy to the practical toolkit. If we're slowing down the chaos, what are the actionable strategies? We need tools.
The absolute foundation has to be routine. Despite all the disruption, you have to maintain your core routines as much as humanly possible.
Sleep schedules, meal times, exercise.
All of it. Consistency is a gift in itself. It provides stability.
And for managing all the transitions, predictability is king. This is where visual supports become so important.
Yes, you have to demystify what's coming next, use visual schedules to map out the day, and first then, boards are amazing.
For anyone who doesn't know, a first send board is super simple but powerful.
It just clearly sequences two tasks. First, we open this present, then we can go read a book.
Yeah.
It manages that anxiety of what's next.
And countdown timers. Brilliant for preparing for a change, like leaving the house in 10 minutes. It gets rid of that sudden, jarring transition.
But let's be honest, Christmas is fundamentally a sensory nightmare. If you really look at it, it's designed to overwhelm.
Flashing lights, jingle bells, loud music.
And the sources pointed out one I hadn't really thought about. The sharp, tearing sound of wrapping paper.
For many people, that's a huge trigger.
It is. But there are solutions. Use simple gift bags instead. Or, to manage the anxiety of the surprise, you can keep gifts unwrapped, or even put a picture of the item on the outside of the wrapping.
And every family should have a personalized sensory toolkit ready to go, especially if you're visiting other people.
Oh, absolutely. Think about packing things like noise-canceling headphones, sunglasses, fidgets, weighted items, and maybe even peppermint oil to mask overwhelming smells.
That toolkit lets you self-regulate when the environment just gets to be too much.
And when you are visiting, you have to establish a safe retreat zone.
Yes. Ahead of time, figure out where that quiet space is. A spare bedroom, a corner, maybe even bring a small canopy tent. It's essential for preventing meltdowns.
And at your own home, go gradual with the decorating. Don't do it all in one go.
Right, spread it out over a week. And only decorate the spaces where the family feels comfortable. Maybe just downstairs. It's all about creating an environment that supports, not stresses you out.
Moving beyond just survival tips, let's talk about long-term energy management. This is crucial for avoiding that burnout that hits on December 26th.
And this is where we get to a breakthrough concept from the sources that everyone should try.
Energy accounting. This strategy from Majid Tudal asks you to treat your holiday schedule like a balance sheet. You list out your exhausting activities. Those are your red numbers.
Rated by how draining they are.
Right. And then you schedule replenishing activities. Your black numbers, rated on how restorative they are. So a big family party might be a red 80, but 2 hours of quiet reading could be a black 70.
And the goal is simple but revolutionary.
You have to make sure the total score of your black numbers is higher than the total of your red numbers. If you're in the red, you must change the schedule, even if it means cutting a must-do event.
Which requires setting firm boundaries, and that brings us to the communication challenge. How do we tell people, kindly but firmly?
You need a script. The sources recommend a clear 3-part structure.
Okay, let's run through it. Step 1.
Validation. You acknowledge
In
their
the
feelings.
gumbo of growth,
I understand that having the whole
connection
family here for
is
Christmas
you.
Day is really important to you.
The
So that
connection
soft and
is you.
slow shows you
It's
respect
clear
their
and
view.
true.
What's step 2?
Communicate your
Bringing
needs.
voices
I
together,
feel
a
statement.
vibrant
When I'm in
hue.
large groups, I find that I
With
feel
love
really
and
overwhelmed
insight,
and stressed.
each
It's not
topic
you
we
make me
pursue.
feel.
In
Step
the
3 is offering a
gumbo of
concrete
growth,
alternative,
the
not just a
connection
flat
is
no.
you.
Exactly. Ask for what you need. This year, I can't come to the big party, but could we meet up one-on-one for a quiet visit on the 26th instead?
Yeah.
And you have to rehearse it.
Practice it with assertive body language, shoulders back.
Right. But even when you do all that, you might still feel that sharp pang of guilt.
It's powerful.
Acknowledge it. It means you care. But then remind yourself that their reaction, their disappointment, it's their responsibility, not yours. You're prioritizing your family's well-being over a performance.
So to counteract all that stress, we should leave our listeners with that inner script for self-compassion.
Yes. When that internal pain hits, when you feel like you failed at the holidays, use your inner voice, like you're speaking to a frightened child. The script is, this is a moment of suffering. Everyone feels pain sometimes. It is okay to feel pain. Dearly loved one, I am here for you.
That's so important for caregivers especially. Your stress levels are contagious.
You have to take care of yourself first. Use energy accounting, set boundaries, and ask for help if you need it.
What a deep dive. We've gone from fighting expectation clause to building a custom holiday. The holidays are a celebration, not a duty. Genuine joy comes from customization, not comparison.
And our sources make this one profound final point. Our emotional attachment to tradition often gets in the way of adapting to the needs of the people we love most.
You have to put the people first and the traditions second.
That's it.
So what does this all mean for you? We've seen how transformative energy accounting can be in December. But what if you applied that same principle, making sure your replenishing black numbers outweigh your exhausting red numbers to your entire life? How dramatically would your well-being change? Take a moment this week, calculate your own numbers for a typical Monday, and see what you find.